Righty, we're recording now. And yeah, I'd like to introduce the representatives we have here joining us today from DiGiCOR. So I might just get you all to do a quick wave. I know we've got a couple without cameras, but we've got Richard, who is the CEO of DiGiCOR, joining us.
Hi.
Thanks, Richard. And we've got Cathy, who's the COO of DiGiCOR.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks, Cathy. And we've got Des Nguyen, who is a system engineer.
Hey guys, how are you?
Thanks, Des. And we've got Roham, and who's also an alumni joining us, who's the marketing manager at DiGiCOR.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us.
So yeah, big thanks again, guys. And with that, I'll hand over. Thank you.
Thanks, Kate, for your introduction. My name is Richard, CEO at DiGiCOR. We are very delighted to be invited for this virtual industry session and share some ideas between us. I guess each one of you will be graduating from the uni, finding the job, particularly the job which interests you, is probably your next key step. As you not only just want to find a job and earn your living by working 8 hours each day, but most importantly, you want to work for an organization that can provide the opportunities to utilize your skills, as well as create an environment that encourages you continuous learning. The desired ability for continuous learning is one of the most important areas for any employees. From the employer's point of view, your future very much depends on your ability to learn. On this point, I was reading an article a couple of days ago. It says LinkedIn talent research shows that half of today's most in-demand skills were not even on the list 3 years ago. What you know now is less relevant than what you may learn, and knowing the answers to questions is less critical than having the ability to ask the right questions in the first place and use the tools and the methodologies you have learned and developed in the uni to find the answers to these questions. So if you are going to find an organization to work for, you will need to look at the following aspects, I believe. First, who the organization is, what products and services it offers. Are the organization's core values in line with the ones you're looking for? Second, does the daily work interest you because your interest or the drive actually determines your future? Third, what can you learn by working in this organization? Next page, please. Today, I would like to spend next hour or so to address above questions with our company, DiGiCOR, as an example. Though it may just touch the surface on the answers to these questions, I hope it is useful to your future endeavors. I will talk a little bit about DiGiCOR, who we are, what we do. Des, our system engineer, will talk a little bit about the project we have done recently. Cathy, our CEO, on behalf of Michael, who's sick today, unfortunately, will share some of the hands-on experiences. What can you learn with the daily works? Cathy and Roham will facilitate to answer your questions after our brief presentation. Next page, please. So this is us. We were established in 1997, so it's been 23 years in the market in providing cutting-edge technologies, mainly focused in server, data storage, workstation systems, and lately edge computing and Internet of Things solutions. Though we don't invent those technologies, but we are at the forefront of utilizing the latest technologies to add values to our customers. Next page, please. Headquartered in Melbourne, we also have offices in other major cities like Sydney, Brisbane, Perth, and Auckland. So we have a nationwide coverage. Next page, please. I guess similar to individual, every company has a vision and a mission. As an organization, where do we want to go, and what do we need to do to get there? So our vision is to become a trusted technology advisor to our customers, so that they can rely on our expertise to deliver their core IT infrastructure in a speedy, cost-effective manner, so to increase their productivity. And we believe we can, if we can provide high-quality products and services and contributing to our customers' lifelong values, we will be able to get to where we want to be. Next page, please. As a company, these are the core values we promote. We want our customers to see us as customer-focused, to address their specific needs. We want our customers to see us as a leader to introduce and implement the latest technologies with excellent operation and cost efficiencies, etc. And these core values will be reflected by each of our employees in their daily works. When our employees behave in such a way to show these core values, our customers will value us in a similar way. Next page, please. Yep. DiGiCOR's products and services extend to many industries, particularly to what we call vertical market, like defense, research organization, security surveillance, software development, post-production, etc., where high performance and customization is needed. Many of our major projects are actually in those vertical markets. Next page, please. Compared to the competitors, this is what we believe we are good at, flexibility. We're not tied up with any particular vendor's products. Rather, we have access to multi-vendor products based on customers' business requirements. In order to be able to offer such flexibility, continuous learning on the latest technology is a must. Customization, particularly suitable to above-mentioned vertical market where fit-for-purpose systems are required. So this fit-for-purpose approach has set DiGiCOR unique in the market, so we are in a niche market. Others like affordability and fast delivery with service coverage in the major cities across ANZ region, this is easy said than done. We put a lot of efforts on operational efficiencies. Next page, please. Oh, you're already there. Now, these are the products and services portfolio we have. As I mentioned previously, DiGiCOR is focusing server, data storage, and recently on artificial intelligence, machine learning, and some other hot technologies. So we are at the forefront of introducing new technologies to our customers. So it's quite broad in a sense. So that ends my presentation, very brief, and hopefully that's, you get some of the points. Now I pass on to Des, who will talk a little bit about the recent project we have done.
Thanks, Richard. Hey guys, so my name's Des. I'm one of the lead systems engineer at DiGiCOR. I've been with the company for just over 10 years now and was also a former alumni of Monash University with a bachelor's in business information systems down there. Part of my role is managing our internal product portfolio and dealing with our vast ecosystems, all various partners and vendors such as Intel, NVIDIA, AMD, Samsung, and yeah, the list goes on with the especially with our software ecosystem as well. But most importantly, the biggest aspect of the role is working and liaising with our customers to design innovative solutions that will meet their business requirements and drive innovation within their business. As that's one of the key aspects that we deliver as a company. One of the first projects that I wanted to cover off is a client that we have based in WA, and the company is called Airscope. And one of their mantras is to capture, process, and present data via drone imaging technology. As you guys know, like the mining and resource sector in WA is huge, and it's one of the areas that's propping up the Australian economy at the moment. And with the vast amount of resources and finance resources out there, they're always looking at innovative ways to capture information and present this to their clients. Traditionally in this sector, especially you've got sites like oil refineries and mining sites out in the region, which just carry a very, very large area down there. And part of this case, part of the surveying that they used to do used to be carried out by planes and helicopters, which was quite very, very resource intensive in terms of time and also manpower as well. With the advent of drones coming out in recent years, Airscope propped up as a startup, and these guys send out a fleet of drones to survey mining sites and oil refineries as such, and each drone is equipped with laser scanners. And these laser scanners capture information and process the data and make it presentable in 3D images just for site surveys and defect detection, which vastly reduces the amount of time required to traditionally carry this process out manually. Part of the challenge with this is the amount of data they capture is huge. So they quickly realized the compute requirements that they had at hand were not sufficient and needed quite a mix or a balanced workload to achieve this, as the 3D imaging is quite compute intensive in terms of processing and also GPU processing as well. So we worked with them and developed a couple of proof of concept systems, and in the end relied on our ecosystem of partners with like Intel to cover off the process requirements, NVIDIA for the GPU requirements, and also Intel again for the storage requirements with very, very high performance NVMe devices. And in the end, it allowed them to greatly expand the capabilities, as well as Airscope are now very, very successful in working with a lot of large mining companies in the region and have greatly grown as a startup. The next client I'd like to talk about is Queensland University of Technology. A few years ago, they've received funding from the government to build the Cube, which is part of their Science and Engineering Centre. And this particular area, one of the focal points that they want to develop around was the 3D touch wall, which consists of 14 high definition projectors and 48 multiple touch screens across 2 levels. And all these screens have unlimited data points and display imaging at a very, very high resolution. And one of the key goals that they wanted was an interactive center that had no latency, as when you're touching a wall and things, latency can be very, very annoying. And one of the challenges that was presented to us was develop a compute system that could cater to these sort of requirements and just generally be very, very, a very, very good all-around system. So we worked heavily with their teams and also leveraged our relationship with Intel and NVIDIA. And in the end, we developed a 14-node cluster, each node consisting of 24-core high-frequency CPUs paired with RTX GPUs and 4 RTX GPUs, sorry, and also NVMe storage as well, just to drive the latency as low as possible and also deliver a good user experience when people are interacting with the wall. The next client would probably, as you guys will probably all know of, is the CSIRO. These guys have generally, with the amount of research projects that they deal with, have an insatiable appetite for compute and are always looking for equipment that's at the bleeding edge of the current compute capabilities today. As you guys know, with Moore's law, compute power doubles every few years, and it's always an arms race essentially to keep up with everything else there. So we were given a lot more flexibility with this particular budget as they were just looking at the best possible GPU solution to add to their existing compute cluster that's used by a whole bunch of researchers. So the existing cluster had quite limited GPU capabilities, and they want to expand on that without having their system sprawl out of control in terms of the amount of nodes required. Part of our ecosystem is our unique relationship with Supermicro. We've got access to quite some unique servers in our portfolio. One of the standout products was a 4RU server that had the capability of fitting 8 NVIDIA GPUs, and the system could be rack mounted as well. So by presenting this system, and they were able to optimize their cluster and also being paired with InfiniBand and high performance networking and stuff, we're able to strike a balance and deliver a multidiscipline GPU system that could help with all their research projects. And in particular, they had quite a focus on AI and machine learning, which leveraged the NVIDIA's capabilities quite drastically. Next up, we've one of our long-time customers with quite modest beginnings is Applied CCM. So they started off as a relatively small two-man CFD consulting firm and specialized directly with computational fluid dynamics. They originally started off with a fleet of 3 or 4 high-performance workstations, as these met the project sizes when they were starting up. But as they quickly grew and took on larger CFD projects, especially with motorsport customers and defense-based customers as well, it quickly outstripped the computing needs, and the simulation times that they had grew quite drastically. So they hit the market and were looking for a solution that could bring down the simulation times and also allow them to do more projects, which would greatly increase the business profitability. We quickly realized that the workloads they were running didn't scale well with GPUs. So part of our focus was to retain the CPU computing capability with their particular system. And we sat down and worked out the ideal processor stacks and the amount of cores delivered to the system and what it would yield from a business benefit for them. And part of the solution we came out with was a cluster consisting of 576 physical cores and over a petabyte of memory as well. And it greatly improved the simulation times and the amount of projects that they could take on. And this was also paired with InfiniBand networking as well to tie in all the nodes together and build a very, very low latency cluster. And finally, I'd like to talk about Telstra, who we've been consulting with for their HCI team as well. They originally approached us to develop a solution for one of their hosting customers and security platforms as well. And part of the challenge with that is they had an initial concept in mind of what they wanted to develop. But once we sat down and went through a whole consultation process with them, we quickly found that the initial system that they wanted would not meet their requirements, as there would be cases where storage would grow or their compute requirements would outstrip the storage. So we developed a solution with them tying in both these systems using OpenStack as the compute layer and virtualization layer, and Ceph for the storage layer. And both these systems will allow them to scale when they need be, when they had compute demands or when they had storage demands as such. But these are just some of the projects we've worked on, and also there's a lot more. But as you can see, every customer is different and presents its own unique requirements, and that's what part of the challenge with the job, and it makes things quite interesting. Other than that, that concludes my part for today, and I'll hand it over to Cathy.
Yeah, thanks, Des. Hi, everyone. I'm presenting on behalf of Michael Zeffro. He has been with DiGiCOR for 14 years as a hardware engineer, and he has been in IT industry for 25 years. So Michael is a key member of our tech department, mainly look after the local assembling and tech support and a part of R&D. DiGiCOR has a local team here. We customize the solution for our customer, therefore lots of systems to be built, assembled and tested in DiGiCOR here, mainly in Melbourne head office. Our office is in Oakley, very close to Monash, so therefore these are the area which we are specialized in. The graduate program will give access to the backend operation in delivering our products and services in area of, the implementations, assembling, testing, integrate solutions, and also technical support for stakeholder management and customer support, problem solving, diagnostic, on-site service, warranty, and managed services, those type of area. And including R&D, sometimes we need also involve research, developing and testing solutions based on the stakeholder requirements. So those are the area which covered by the tech department down there. As part of the back end operation within DiGiCOR, there are many aspects and interactions that need to be performed during the complete phase of delivering the total solutions. So from start to finish, the technical department will rely upon many different aspects of functions, such as communication with the clients, provide pre-sales knowledge and solutions, R&D, and find some workable solution for the client, and assemble, testing, and delivery, as we mentioned before. And also because our equipment comes with around up to 5 years warranty, so therefore in the whole 5 years period that we need to carry the support, after sales service support and technical support for the clients. So each of which can be successful, accomplished, but then a hands-on experience is in your chosen profession. So really they assemble and test everything, use the software and stress test, overnight test, workload test, those type of tests based on the client requirement and solution we provided. Although I guess as a graduate, you have lots of theoretical knowledge to perform the job role, but there are lots of obstacles that need to be navigated in the workplace will affect the way you perform in your role. So that will so again, hands-on experience is very important, because at the end of the day, whatever the solution our clients working on need to be sits on something to run. So that hardware solution is a core part DiGiCOR provided to the customer and fine-tune to the best outcome for the client. One of the key elements success in the occupation, having good people skills, I guess, even though you have certain technical skill, but you also require very strong people skills to be able to perform a role better. So those are the few of the skills we're talking about: strong communication skills, being adaptable, flexible, and active learning. Being in our industry these days, it's all very dynamic and keep on changing in the technology. So therefore, whatever you learned from uni might be outdated after 1 or 2 years. So therefore, continual learning is part of the whole journey for the role, successful role in DiGiCOR. So now, in terms of hands-on experience, we're talking about customer relationships, which we need to build because sometimes when customer had some issues, they get frustrated, they need a quick solutions. So therefore, we are here to provide whatever the best to our clients, problem solving, troubleshooting, and also on-site service warranties. So maintaining good relationship with customer is key area, but also we need to have the analytic skills that we have problem solving, logistic thinking. Lots of time you not bumping the same problem, you might facing different problem and come out different aspect. So therefore you need to use their method to come up with some logical solutions for it. Job-related knowledge, we need to encourage each staff continues to learn the latest technology, what's the market trend, what's happening out there, what's best for the our customer needs. So that's that part. And the good skill, what we're looking at is a strong communication skill. You need to communicate by email, phones, or face-to-face, or via the video link, video calls. And also, being adaptive and flexible, that's important. Then, though every company has policies, rules, but also you need to understand individual cases might need to take care of the particular customer needs. And also active listening. So I guess that you need to listen to what's the problem customer have, and then we need to solve it accordingly. So the hands-on experience will, we listed so many skills down there for your reference. I'm not going to go through that individually, but those are the part of the skill that you probably require to consider to do the job well. And the important part, what we found between the graduate and the real world, there's a big gap. So therefore, we are here to provide exclusive access for graduate students to learning the opportunities and to get hands-on experience to apply their theory into the applications. And we also have a lab facility here, so you can run certain application here to get some kind of result to help you to make a certain wise decisions. And also we have multiple vendor access in the leading vendors in this industry, so that we have a platform you can register for trainings. Usually you cannot, they don't provide to public and only provide to partner like DiGiCOR. So those are the leading vendors. They have lots of trainings out there for you to continue to narrow the gap between your uni theoretic things to the real market needs. So that will help you to narrow down that gap. So that's what, Roham, next page, please. Oh, so that's pretty much his presentation. I guess that's all what we mentioned here. So we provide a platform for graduates here to narrow down your theoretic knowledge versus the real market needs. So that will enable you to get much wide opportunities when you have those certificates from those market leaders, vendors, and gain those knowledge. And so that way you really to practical in DiGiCOR to see hands-on and plus your knowledge and skills, so you can learn much faster and proceed much better in the coming years of your career. All right, in that, I'll hand over to Roham.
Thanks, Cathy. So hello, everyone. I'm Roham. I'm in charge of marketing for DiGiCOR, and I'm helping Cathy with human resources as well. I joined DiGiCOR in January 2019, and we've been in this journey together. So I'm going to tell you about the career opportunities you have in case you are interested in our industry and our projects and you want to join our team. At DiGiCOR, we offer several career paths for graduates. One of them is our graduate program we started from 2020. So we will give you access to experience different departments we have, and you can apply all throughout the year. We will evaluate your resume and your application as soon as you submit it, and we will come back to you We have the internship opportunity as part of work integrated learning, which we work with Monash Engineering and Monash Business School, and we are expanding it to the other faculties. So you can either apply through Monash Engineering work integrated learning program, and they will source you to us, or you can contact DiGiCOR and we will help you to source the internship with us. We have some paid roles available on our website that we will update on our career page. So if you have some experience or you're interested in our industry or you see your career growing in this field, don't hesitate to contact us and be in touch with us. So that concludes our presentation today. You can be in touch with us from a variety of the channels, and we are always responsive. You can go to our website and have a live chat with our team right now if you want. So Kate, I hand it back to you.
Great, thanks everyone for such an informative presentation. That was great. What we'll do now is open it up for some questions. So if anyone here has any questions they'd like to ask of anyone at DiGiCOR, please use the raise hand function and I'll call on you, or if you'd prefer, you can use the chat bar as well. Any takers? Diego, thank you.
I have more like a, I don't know, no one put their hand up, so I have more like of a technical question for Des, I guess. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Go for it.
So in a lot of the projects that you guys showed, you showed a lot of Intel and NVIDIA partnerships. I was just wondering, was there any reason for going with Intel over AMD because of all the things that you showed with like multi-core applications? So yeah, was there any reason for going with Intel over AMD because of that?
No, not really. So a lot of these projects were conducted within the past 2 years, and AMD have there's been a big resurgence in their particular systems in the past year or so, especially with the second generation Roham processors, which have a tremendous core count. We just haven't collated enough case studies with them yet, as Intel have essentially owned the data center. In partnership with NVIDIA, Intel have essentially owned the data center market for the past 10 years. So it's only, I'd say only in the past year or so we're seeing a big resurgence there. But I guess that's part of the reason why we've just used them as case studies, as they're just more mature. But over the next couple of years, we should see some market share being chipped away from Intel and taken by AMD into this space, as no doubt their processors are one of the performance leaders currently available in the market at the moment.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, just adding to that, in the past few years, Intel is occupy around 95% of the system delivery we've done. And now from this year, we have seen the percentage change. Really, we have seen probably about 70% Intel and 30% AMD. And now we have seen the more requirement for AMD, systems and storage. So yeah, it's changing in terms of percentage. But we don't have the case study ready yet to share with you. But next year, maybe we will start sharing more AMD case studies with the team then.
Right, thank you. Sorry, I didn't realize there were like older ones. That's why I was wondering, because of the newer trends. So yeah, thank you. Yeah,
right. Yeah, good question.
Alrighty, I think we've got a question in the chat bar from Manvendra. Did you want to turn your microphone on, Manvendra? Otherwise, I can read it aloud. It's up to you. I can read that one out. So it's for Roham. So do you have a summer internship program running this year? And do we apply for it via your website? And then also whether or not you have any WAM requirements for the graduate program and the sort of technical skills you're looking for in graduate interns from the software and IT stream.
Okay, so we do have intake. We have intake all across the year. You can go to our graduate program page and fill our online form. we don't have a WAM requirement, but there is a test that evaluates your verbal reasoning ability, and that's one of the key things that we are evaluating for internship. So by filling out that form, you have to submit your resume, your cover letter, and 1-minute video explaining the time that you had to work with a team to solve an unsolvable issue. And with that, we will do the evaluation based on your resume and create a learning opportunity for you to do some courses with our partners and get the hands-on experience with our several departments that we have, and give you the opportunity to move forward. So it all comes down to your application and how you fill it out, and we will have openings for any sort of expertise you have.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
If anyone else doesn't have, let's see if anyone's got their hand up. Not yet. Have a think, guys, if there's anything while we've got DiGiCOR here. But maybe on that note, with those applications, what would you say would be some of the really important factors that you look for in the applications? What would make an application stand out, I suppose?
Okay, so as you noticed today, we are a very diverse company. We believe in equal opportunity, and we hire people from different backgrounds and different expertise, and give them the platform to actually show their value to our company. What helps you to stand out is basically show us that you know what we are doing. Like mention that you studied our website, you studied our company. Tell us about how you can add a value to DiGiCOR. It's like any other job application. You have to study our industry, study us, and evaluate your own skill sets, and then put everything together and give us an enticing proposal that we cannot reject. But we will give you a fair evaluation. We go through all of the applications without any assumptions. We look at your resume and cover letter and hear your judgment. And we usually invite more than 80% of our applicants for interview. And after that, I usually give a comprehensive feedback to people who we accept or reject, so they know where they did good or where they didn't do very well.
Great.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, well, with a limited position here, obviously we can't open it to everybody. So what we were looking at, the key element is that what you learned at uni and how could you apply those into the real world needs. Obviously, we understood that there's a bit of gap in there, but which we would like to provide certain training to help you to proceed. But the student themselves really need to have a self-learning skills. They cannot just wait to be spoon-fed all the time. So that's very important part of the role, the person, candidate we're looking at. So they need to have their self-learning and self-drive skills, and they really want they are really interested in this industry. That's the important part. Then they will drive themselves to spend their own time learning, also at the time at DiGiCOR learn to learn things. So that's why we see the huge difference in certain candidates. They will here just wait to be told what to do. But yes, we will teach you certain things, but then we also want to see your own drive, where you want to be. And also the most important part, the industry that we offer the commercialized solution to the client. So therefore we need, look at this area, how you can contribute this area, So what DiGiCOR open up is that graduate for your learning program for a certain period of time. We give you plenty of time to learn, but also we probably potentially have ongoing roles for you if you can approve to us that you contribute to DiGiCOR's value proposition and provide certain value to our client. So Roham is a typical example. He started with us as an intern, but then afterwards we see the contribution, the value he made for DiGiCOR, so he continued with us. So these are the opportunities we offer to your graduate students. So yeah, we not look at a short term for your internship, but we also potentially look at a long-term employment with any candidates and students from uni. Yeah.
Thanks, Cathy.
Can I just add one more thing here, Kate? Now, one of the questions we tend to ask the candidates who come to for the interview for the job, particularly new graduates, is personally I like to ask what's their career goal in 3 years and 5 years and 10 years time, because that's very important to us, because as I mentioned, continuous learning and ability to learn and also the drive determines the future of this person. So we really want to see this person has the drive to move forward, interest in technology or in technology segments and interest in technologies, and have the drive. So when the person has the drive, obviously, during the work, you're facing a lot of challenges, the issues and the problems, and with the drive, you will find a way to get the answer. Without the drive, you just say, let it go. I don't know. I'm the new graduate here. I'm just learning. So it doesn't show the initiative. So that initiative is very important for you to develop in any organization. Yeah.
Thank you, Richard. Look, I had just one question in terms of a number of the students that are attending today from our Monash Engineering Leadership Program. In a really short space of time, so this question I think might be for all students looking at jobs everywhere, really. In a short space of time, either through the application or interview process, how does someone demonstrate leadership to you? Could be for the Cathy, Roham, or Richard.
Well, leadership is it's not easy to demonstrate when we read a resume. So that we're looking at whether that candidate possess a certain leadership, could be participated in certain events or organizer of something, or even the president of the students club. Those kind of things can show us as a certain leadership. But the leadership actually, again, during the interview is a little bit difficult to judge. This is where the graduate program probably gives the opportunity for the students to shine in terms of the leadership, and when dealing with the issues of whether that person can take ownership and accountabilities and all these sort of things, responsibility, and how you deal with the situation. And during the process, we believe the 3 months or 6 months is important for the graduates to show that leadership. Again, talking just over with a single session of the interview is very difficult. There's a certain program actually can test the leadership. I don't know whether the program we had have these aspects or not, but it's something that over a period of time the employers can judge whether this person has a leadership or not.
Thank you, Richard.
Yeah, Nicole, I think through our experience, the great resume doesn't present the great results, So what we have experienced that lots of students put their resume is so fantastic. When we're talking about detail of how they did the project, how did they implement certain things, that lack of the meat of those things, but they're still fine. But that's why we offer here the opportunity to have a real chance for students to show us that they do have opportunity to go with us along with the business growth, and they're going to be a part of that. And they enjoy the job. That's most important. Lots of time when they blindly just apply jobs maybe, but then they find that no, that's not really what they want. So they always been pushed. When they've been pushed, then they wouldn't be shy, They have to enjoy what they were doing and they dive into. So again, I use a Rehan as an example. He really enjoyed. He did all these other aspects to get DiGiCOR going, and I can see he's the one pulling us, rather than we push him. So that's a big difference which we see.
Which links back to that drive.
If I may add, Nicole, so when we are inviting students for interview, I usually ask them one question, which is, if I give you a problem that you don't know anything about, what would you do? So it can, like, I can give them a specific example, tell them we have these vendors, give them some background, and then ask them how they will come up with a solution. So this is where I can see if they have a leadership potential or not. If they do a strategic thinking, foresee the future, they do the planning and tell me the scope of work, how they will influence others to adapt their new technology or those kind of things in their answer. That's how I evaluate their leadership skill.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, I believe Nicholas Chua has raised his hand to ask a question.
Oh, hi. So I know Cathy mentioned earlier that employees are expected to keep up to date with market trends, right?
Mhm.
And I know how you just said, you literally just said to just self-learn, right? But how do you stay on top of market trends and the new emerging technologies? And what kind of platforms can I use that are effective with that?
Right. So in our market, it's always changing. So therefore, what we have provided, or what we were doing, is that we follow the leader who leading those technology. So we provide those vendors will also provide relative training, but we cannot adapt everything they were talking about because they are the big vendors. They create wave, and we are the one follow the wave. So therefore, we will try to learn what they told us through the webinars, through the online training. Then we would need Absolve to look at it. Okay, being DiGiCOR, which part of that is relevant to us and which we think we can proceed, and which part we might not be able to handle it. It's too big to swallow. So therefore we leave it for time being. So those are the analytics after we done all this necessary training, follow those vendors leads. So technology is changing. So all the new technology comes. We have seen even those big vendors like Intel, they have pushed some kind of technology, but it didn't succeed. And they dropped off. And that certain technology they have pushed and has been very successful. So we also need filter through which one is relevant to us, and therefore we need to follow that trend closely, and which one may not be relevant for us, and maybe it's too far away. Therefore, we might not proceed with that. So that we also need a certain judgment while we're learning. We also need to make a certain judgment there.
Thank you.
Did I answer your question?
Oh yeah, you did. Thank you.
Good. Okay.
Are there any other questions?
Sorry, yes, am I able to ask quickly?
Of course you can.
How has DiGiCOR been able to adapt to much of the disruption that we've seen so far this year in 2020? And looking back, how prepared were they at the start of the year, or perhaps the end of last year, for such a economy-wide change in business patterns?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I guess that for this pandemic situation, most of the business actually got affected. So we actually have less impact compared with hospitalities, other industry, because our equipment still goes to data centers, and the storage, they still need certain storage captured data. Every day the data is increased dramatically. So I think it's lockdown affecting us in the last quarter. Yes, lots of things slow down. Our supply chain slowed down, and the freight cost went to roof because all the borders closed down. So the flights come to, especially cargo flights come to Australia, are very limited, and the prices gone to the roof. So because without passenger fulfill the seats that passenger flights carry cargo will be very, very expensive, and their focus was on the medical equipment rather than the computer equipment. So yes, the first quarter we got affected quite badly, but now this quarter we have seen slowly recover because the government has increased a certain maybe of cargo flights, and also the manufacturer overseas slowly going back to a bit of normal, not 100% yet, but 70-60% back to normal. So our supply chains stabilized. Here, our clients initially was kind of shut down and everything just still. But then slowly they realize it's you can't just wait forever. They have to do something about your internal infrastructure and the data center update and all these requirements. So we have seen the customer slowly coming back and to take certain actions, and lots of order being postponed, but then slowly also coming back. So I think people will adapt to the situation. They realize it's not going to be back to normal very quickly. Therefore, they have to cope with a kind of situation to slowly carrying back to normal. So we would look at our business will slowly get back to normal in this quarter and next quarter as well.
So would you agree that DiGiCOR has handled the pandemic better than most other Australian firms?
Yeah, being IT company, I think we handled quite well because first of all, we quickly get all the salespeople and most of essential staff to working from home, and our CRM system already on cloud, which is NetSuite. It's online cloud applications anyway. So we within a week, most of staff managed to working from home. And only the certain staff, they have to build a system here. We have physically warehouse receive the goods and dispatch the systems. Those are the essential staff who come here in roster base. But the rest of staff, we managed to work from home and work quite well. But obviously, there's still internet speed. Sometimes the conference calls or whatever is a bit jittery, but overall, I think it's, I would say 90% smooth overall.
Beyond a few teething problems, perhaps at the beginning.
But we quickly see one of the teething problems we still have is our LCD. So that's why our screen doesn't have the cam built in. We need to look at the future, slowly upgrade that. But at this stage, we only can access the cam through the laptops.
Okay, thank you.
I may add, so during March, as soon as the pandemic started to go out of hand, we developed a pandemic plan and started doing some tests from people working from home to make sure the infrastructure will work and we can make sure that our employees will stay in touch with each other. And after our successful attempt with one of the smaller teams in the company, then we expanded it to all of our branches.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
Just add one more point to Darcy's question. In order to cope with the pandemic, as Cathy mentioned, it does affect every business, large or small. Being an organization, I think we have to be agile in the sense that we have to adapt to the change. We have to think whether that will fundamentally change the business in the long run. Probably you heard in the immediate people talking about half of the workforce probably in the future will be working at home. That fundamentally changed the landscape of the business. So what we are doing is, traditionally we're in the server storage market, and the people very much rely on the personal touch sales team, right? So this is different to the e-commerce. E-commerce, you're going to Amazon, you finding cameras, you finding clothes, you finding the others. So not often you can find a server, in the data center kind of equipment, because it does involve a lot of technologies. So what we do is we developed the website, and we made a configurator made available to those people who can easily access to the knowledge we build into the configurator, so that they don't 100% rely on talking to someone there. So this is one of the things that we're doing. So in this particular market, not many people, businesses are actually doing this. So we have to think the way how we can help the customers. We have to think the way how we can survive and even prosper in the future. So that's what we have been doing.
Okay.
Richard, I think there's one last question. I know we've got just a couple minutes to go from Manvendra in the chat bar, and it's for you again, Richard. And it does have having previous work experience in the field help in the application to show practical and technical learning.
Sorry, do I have a previous technical question experiences, or sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, sure. So does having previous work experience in the field help in the application?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. We always looking. Well, to be honest, we in the graduate program, so we have probably done this in the last few years, and some of them will realize that if a certain graduates coming from totally different background, actually they don't have an interest in IT, they also coming here to apply for the job, and we found absolutely no experiences, and also not much the concept. You'll find it very difficult to get a job. So this is where I mentioned you really need to looking for the job that interests you, and then also have the experiences. Experiences is important. Certificate and education is important in a sense. This is what I keep saying to a lot of the graduate, to the staff and the graduates as well, is that I think the fundamental thing that you learn from the universities is just not knowledge per se, it's the methodologies, the way of thinking. Whenever you face the problem, and you always not just to jump into the Google, a lot of people say, oh, okay, I can get any answer from the Google, but without really thinking deeply what you're trying to achieve, and you need to develop that methodology. I'm pretty sure that the people having higher education that can give a leeway in this area. This we found fundamental difference between people don't get higher education, tertiary education versus straight out of the year 11 and year 12. So you do have an advantage in that regard. But having experiences, particularly in Australia and in the Western world, are always critical. So yeah.
Adding to that, it's not essential to have previous experience. But definitely what we found is that if you have a certain experience will shorten the learning journey, so you can get into a role quicker and better. And also, you will be able to find shortcuts to get there quickly. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm just conscious of time, so unless anyone has any final last questions, I think we're just about ready to wrap things up. And apologies earlier about me losing my internet connection. The power went out, but yeah, thank you, Nicole, for jumping in. But yeah, thank you, Richard, Cathy, Roham, and Des for your presentation today. It was great to hear such a detailed overview of DiGiCOR, and thank you for your time and answering all those questions at the end there. I'm pleased to see that it's still recording, so I believe that the recording will still export fine, so we can have that there as a resource to refer back to, and I'll share it with all the students as well. But yeah, thank you again for your time, and thanks everyone for zooming in today.
Thank you.
Right, thank you very much.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity. All right, thank you. Bye.